Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Vika. I'm here in the support department. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes just to make sure that everyone gets in and they get settled in, get their cup of coffee, all that good stuff. Today, I am going to be going over, well, actually, last week, what I went over was the contact manager. So I went over adding a contact, importing a list, the contact power dialer, which we actually made some cool little usability visual changes to the contact power dialer if you haven't seen it already. In addition to that, we went over the advanced search and standard, tags and groups, custom fields, and exporting and downloading your contacts that you export. Today, I'm going to go over the inbound campaign and how to create one, all the different things, how they tie together with your SMS campaigns and your voicemail drop campaigns. What else? Call reports, call flows, the whisper feature, which is fairly new. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go through today. I hope everyone is feeling good. It's Thursday, TGIT. I'll give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Yes. If anyone has missed, Philip, by the way, if anyone has missed any of the previous webinars, we've been doing this for since last Monday. Since last Monday we've started. So there's quite a few of those in there. Monday through Friday, there's plenty. Actually, what you can do is go to youtube.com and you can search Hot Prospector. That will be the channel name. Clicking on that, you'll see all the videos that we've previously recorded for all of our webinars. And yes, Jasmine has answered that question there in the group chat as well. So you guys will be able to have that if needed. This one that we're doing today, of course, will also be recorded and placed on the same channel. So you can always go back and reference, share it with your friends, your workmates, your colleagues, so on and so forth. All right, so let's jump right into it. So we have the inbound tab over here. It's right next to the contact and the outbound dialer. The inbound is one of the things that people tend to feel like they don't need, even though they do. You know, when you're sending out voicemail drops, when you're doing SMS campaigns, outbound campaigns, people need to be able to call you back. Absolutely, you're welcome, Philip. So yeah, so you're going to have an inbound campaign set up. It's pretty simple stuff. We did add a lot of new cool things to it. So let's jump right in. Now, if you retract to last week when I spoke with everyone here, the first thing that we always mention that needs to be done is you need to have a group created for any campaign that you create, right? One thing that I like to suggest to our users is to create a separate group specifically for your inbound campaigns. So for example, if you have a voicemail broadcast campaign running, right? You're constantly sending out a voicemail broadcast to a list of people for a client that you have. And the people or the contacts that are inside of that particular group, you know, they're linked to that particular number. So for example, we have test voicemail here, right? So this is the name of the campaign. And of course, I'm going to have a group specifically related to this campaign because that's the group that we're broadcasting out to. And you kind of want to make sure that you keep the number of the caller ID in uniform as well. Now, when it comes to doing a inbound campaign that's related to this voicemail drop, what I mean by that is utilizing the same caller ID phone number as your inbound campaign purchase number. In addition to that, I suggest creating a group that is similar to the title of the campaign and the group that you're using for the voicemail drop campaign. However, just title it Inbounds and then test VM, something along those lines. The reason why is because in the inbound campaigns, you're actually able, we do it kind of like a tracking mechanism. There is settings inside of the inbound campaign in which when a lead calls into that campaign, it automatically adds them to the group that's associated with that inbound. So if you're following my drift, this is a quick and easy way to kind of get an overview of not only the people that you've sent this voicemail broadcast to, but the amount of people and who specifically called you back, because those people are also going to be added into that group, right? It's not going to be necessarily considered a duplicate lead, but they're going to get copied into that new group, and you'll be able to easily identify who called you back or text you back based on the campaign. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and create a group. I'm going to call this one, let's do RVM inbounds. Of course, if you want to assign permissions for a member to access this group and the contacts in it, you'll do so here. And then if you ever needed new lead notifications, you can add them here. The cool thing about the inbound campaigns, you can actually set this notification on and it will send you a new lead notification. Granted, depending on how you have your setup as far as your campaigns go, will determine if you need this or not. But whenever someone calls in an inbound campaign and they are a new contact, completely new, meaning they do not exist in your account already as a lead, then you will get this notification because it's coming from an external source. So of course, email notification, SMS notification, these notifications go strictly to the user. Nothing goes to the lead at all, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and submit this group. I'm gonna take this off. All right, and then here we are in the inbound campaign. So the cool thing is there has been some new features released, and I'm excited to go over that with you guys. So first things first, let's go ahead and click on New Campaign. All right, here, of course, the load settings. This is something that we have available. If there is a old inbound campaign that you want to revive and bring back to life, you can certainly click on Load Settings and choose which one you would like to clone over, which is another word that we use for load settings. It's essentially cloning, okay? Here I'm going to go ahead and call this one the RVM. Let's do demo inbound. All right, and of course here I'm going to select that new group. Now, phone number, when it comes to the inbound campaigns, you must have any number that you've used already for an inbound, you cannot use again for another inbound. What I mean by that is, of course, if we take a look at the other numbers that we have here, so we're using 9884, 9553. They are already associated with the inbound, so we cannot use these numbers again for another inbound campaign. All right, so of course, as you can see, it's giving me the only other option that we have, which is the 3013. Now, for the calendar, what this means is if you have any calendars created inside of your account, you can certainly apply it here. What happens when you do so is when any of the agents or yourself happens to use the inbound call browser, you'll actually be able to directly book appointments to that calendar. So again, if you've specifically set up this inbound and tie it to any other campaign that you're doing for a particular client, and you have a calendar created for them, this would be ideal for you. Of course, when you book that appointment, you are able to send reminders to the lead, reminders to the user themselves. You can CC the email for other people to receive it. It typically comes in about 20 minutes prior to the appointment being scheduled, or when you're needing to call that person back. So that is what the calendar here is for. Now, the voicemail notification. This ultimately depends on how you set up your inbound campaign. So, for example, and we'll get to this next page in just a moment, but let's say, for example, you just got your account and you're not quite ready to make calls. You're kind of unsure how this is going to go, and you just want the calls to go straight to voicemail so you can just call them back, right? So this is what you'll want to have set up, at least so you can get notification letting you know that someone did leave you a new voicemail. So as you can see, checking on either or both, you can receive email notification and SMS notification to more than one person, of course, if you separate it by comma. that there's a new voicemail sitting here that was sent to this number. Okay. Now, of course, if you do receive those voicemails and you set up your inbound campaign that way, this icon up here is going to change from 0 to how many ever new voicemails you have. And clicking on this will take you to your voicemail log. And of course, here, as I've mentioned many times, you'll be able to listen and download, and of course, filter to see which campaigns they called into, and of course, at that point, call them back. All right, the next one that we have here is the call recording. This one's a pretty big deal for a lot of users who need this to be done. Call recording is an option. Choose yes or no, or on or off, I should say. The next thing that we have here is the contact being added automatically. So a moment ago when I mentioned the ability to have, whenever someone calls into this number, get automatically added into this group for tracking purposes, this option will need to be on. As I mentioned previously just a moment ago, let's say, for example, you did do a broadcast campaign with the caller ID of the 3013 number, and they start calling back to this number. Because it's associated with a new group or a different group, whoever calls this number is going to automatically get added into it, and you'll easily be able to see who is interested because they get added into this group. You could take a look at this group and compare the two, and kind of see the percentage rate of how many people did call you back based off of your voicemail drop campaigns. The next thing that we have here is the whisper call. So this one's fairly new. Clicking on yes here, as you can see, it provides you with a couple different options here. What happens here is when a inbound call is coming into your inbound campaign, when the call is being forwarded out. So let's say that you're setting up this inbound for a client and they want all the calls to be forwarded to, let's say they have 5 different agents, right? Here in this lead wait message area, what you'll want to put in here is, thank you for contacting so-and-so. Please hold while we connect you with an agent, right? So that message will play here for the lead specifically. For the agents, what you'll want to write here is something along the lines of, hello, you have a lead on the line calling in from so-and-so campaign, answer the call, for lack of better words. So here I'm just going to type in some verbiage here. Something like that, something simple. You can, of course, make it as detailed as you'd like. The good thing is, if this is a inbound campaign that you're running for a voicemail or SMS campaign, and you already have their information, such as their mobile number, phone number, email, company, website, whatever it is that you may have when you've imported these contacts, you can start utilizing these tokens. Now, for example, if you wanted to have this whisper feature on and you don't have, let's say, for example, I do not exist in this account at all whatsoever, and I decide to call this number and the whisper feature is on, and you have these tokens inserted, such as first name. Let's say I put my mobile number. The only thing that's going to come through for you as the agent would be the mobile number, not the first name, simply because, just like any other way of calling into a number, the only thing that you're going to see is a number of that recipient or the caller, not necessarily their first name, or any other information for that matter. It would only show up their mobile number, sorry, or their phone number that they're calling from. So again, if you do have, contacts in your accounts already with all this information, and they're calling in, then of course the system is going to be able to pull these tokens. All right, so here we have the SMS notification. This one is a highly used feature that we have for the inbounds, and it does connect with your SMS campaigns. So this is a very common question that I get a lot, and I'm really happy actually to clarify how this really works. So when you think to yourself, okay, I'm sending out a large SMS campaign, I don't want to have to keep logging into the system and going over to the sent and receive log to see who texted me back. Well, you don't have to do that, especially with this feature here. Turning this on to yes, the person who automatically owns this account, will automatically get the incoming SMS notification. Now, to clarify what number this is coming from and going to, you'll want to go over to your profile account. So clicking on the profile up there. All right, so the call forwarding number that you're seeing listed here is going to be the number that is going to receive the inbounds SMS notification automatically when this option is set at yes. Okay, it's going to be coming from the default account number. So if for whatever reason you do not have a default account number selected in this drop down here, then you will not receive that incoming SMS notification. As long as you have a number here, just know that any SMS notification that is going to be sent from your account is going to come from the number that you've selected here. Now, to be a little bit more specific, because this notification is on and that you are the account holder for your accounts and this is your call forwarding number, whatever number is entered here will be the number that the SMS notification is going to be sent to. So for white labels, for example, you do have the opportunity to push and verify numbers through on the back ends to verify a number. So if you are using a number that is not a mobile number and you've got that number verified here, don't expect to receive any SMS notifications, unless, of course, that phone number can somehow, some way. But you'll definitely want to make sure that this is a mobile number to get the best results for notifications being sent to you from your account. All right. The next thing that I want to go over regarding this message is the fact that there is, as you notice, clicking on no, it disappears. Clicking on yes, the field comes back up. So, and to further elaborate how this works, because you are automatically the person who's going to receive this incoming notification because of the call forwarding number listed here, if there were anyone else that you wanted to receive this incoming SMS notification as well, then enter them here. As you can see, you can enter more than one number. You have to separate the number by a comma. And in addition to that, you want to make sure that it's a mobile number. Text messages are not going to be sent or received if it's not a mobile number. So, if you have a business partner that you're working with or specific agents that are going to be handling your text messages, this would be the area in which you want to add additional people, not yourself. If you happen to add your mobile number here, along with selecting yes here, you're going to receive 2 SMS notifications. Now, the SMS notifications, I think the best part about it, the big deal about this, is the fact that when you do get this SMS notification sent to your mobile phone, it's going to not only alert you that, hey, you've got a new text message into this number, but it's also going to provide you with another link. And when you click on that link, it's going to open up the SMS conversation log for you directly on your mobile phone. What that means for you is that you'll be able to actually interact with that lead from your mobile phone without having to log into the system. Every text message that you send to them and they send to you can be found in your SMS log as well. So of course, clicking on the sent and receive log here, everything that you're seeing here, for example, a whole conversation, typing it in, you'll be able to see it directly inside of the account as well. So that is definitely a big deal when it comes to receiving incoming SMS notifications. As long as the number that you have associated with the inbound is being used for an SMS campaign, then you'll be able to turn this notification on and receive those SMS notifications. So as I mentioned earlier, when you have your SMS, your voicemail, your inbound, your outbound in unison, when it comes to the phone number that you're using, it all ties together and you're able to maximize the features that we have available here, such as the incoming SMS notification. All right, so now that I have most of these settings put together, And let's see, anything else I need to do? Nope. If you want to assign this inbound campaign to a team member, if you have any under your manager account, then of course here's where you'll select that. And then of course, click on that checkbox and submit. Once you're done with that, it's going to redirect you over to your inbound campaign list. Once you've created this section here, the first part, I should say, as you can see, you're presented with a lot of different options as to what you want to do with this inbound campaign. So let's go ahead and jump into that right now. Keep in mind, I will be answering any questions that you may have within the last 15 minutes of this webinar. For anyone just joining us right now, we went over how to create an inbound campaign, just the basic first page setup. If at any point you needed to go back into your inbound campaign, feel free to click on this button right here. It says Edit. It's going to take you back to the same page that we were just looking at. Okay. Let's go back over to the campaign list. The next button, or the first button that we have under the action column, is the after hours setting. So let's say, for example, this inbound campaign is for a client and they're only working 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday. Then, of course, what you can do here is select the working days, and then, of course, select the working hours. And then if at any point someone were to call in on a day that you do not have listed as a working hour, then you have what we call the after hours setting. So you have the opportunity to transfer the call to another number. You have an opportunity to reject the call and send an SMS to them, a text message. Same thing, reject with a voice message. And you can also forward them to another campaign. So keep in mind that during the working hours, so again, let's say 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Let's just do that. Sorry, guys, bear with me. All right, okay, so these are our working hours. If they were to call after 4 p.m., it will be considered after hours. Okay, same thing with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because this option is not selected, it is going to be considered after hours. And you have these options here to figure out what you want to have happen to that call. All right, then of course you want to click on Update Settings. And from that point going forward, if anyone were to call outside of those after hours, working hours, I should say, then that call could be directed multiple different ways, depending on how you want it to work. Now, of course, you can always come back in, deselect all of that, update the setting, and when you don't have any after hours settings set up for your inbound campaign, it's going to do exactly what it's set up to do based off your call flow. Now, that's the next part that I'm going to go into is the call flow. Here we are right here, clicking on these gears. It's going to open up your custom IVR flow. This is the second step to creating your inbound campaign. Very important stuff. If you don't set this up, your call is not going to come through when people are calling into your inbound campaign, okay? Got to have this set up. So what we have here is two different things. We have the add custom flow, and then we have the actual call flow. So this is a fairly new feature. I think it's pretty awesome. It was just released not too long ago, and you guys are the first ones here in this webinar to find out a little bit more information about it. The cool thing is as well, if you ever needed to come back and review, again, it's going to be on YouTube. And in addition to that, you can find this information in the knowledge base as well. We went ahead and updated that information. So you can see here we have two options. We have tag and we have area code. Let me go ahead and explain how this works. Let's say, for example, you have a list of 5,000 people. They're all in different industries, but they are tagged specifically with certain things. So let's say that out of this 5,000 that you have, you have plumbers, you have carpenters, you have, all that stuff. You have them tagged differently. When you apply a tag to your custom IVR flow, you're actually able to filter those tags through and direct them to a specific number. So for example, if someone were to call this number here, and there's a particular tag associated with them, they will be directed to this number. Same thing with the area code as well. If there's only specific area codes that you want directed to this number, then so be the case. You can go ahead and select those area codes. Adding them in, for example, it's going to populate down here for you. So when they populate down here, you're able to create a separate call flow for each of these types of people. So if we did a tag, for example, and did that there, added on, as you can see, it adds to the flow. So here's the number specifically, right? So we have the default, and then we have two additional ones. I'll start with the default, as this is the main important call flow that you need to set up. So to access that call flow for your inbound campaign, you'll want to click on the orange button here. And this is probably what looks familiar to a lot of you. This is going to be how the call flow is going to be set up. Now, of course, to start, we have greetings. We're going to drag it and drop it here to set it up. Now, your greetings, you have two options. You can type into speech, or you can upload an audio. As you can see here, this is an MP3 format required. So one of the softwares that we like to suggest our users to utilize is something called Audacity. If you're not familiar with that, it's a free platform. It allows you to record at MP3 format and WAV format. Very easy to use, very easy to save and export your audio. You can always come in and upload that template inside of the system as well. Just know that for voicemails and audio inside of your call flow must be MP3. In this case, I'll do a text to speech. So okay, now of course, that's something really simple. What you would want to put in here if you wanted to have a greetings audio would be something along the lines of, thank you so much for calling system training. Please press 1 to connect with our agents. Please press 2 to connect with our billing department. Press 3 to connect with our sales department, so on and so forth. Now, of course, you don't necessarily have to have it that way, but we do have a menu option, as you can see is the next one here. So let's say that that was your greeting. If we drag and drop menu down here, as you can see, it's going to provide you with those options that you listed in your greeting. So for example, clicking on the plus sign here, you'll be able to add multiple. So clicking on one will direct them to or forward them to the billing department. Down here, you'll be able to enter that billing department number, support number, whatever number that it is that you want those calls to be forwarded to. You know, if they just wanted to leave a voicemail, you can drag and drop that there. Click forward to go to voicemail, leave a voicemail. Down here, you'll be able to add that information. Okay, so that's the menu option. Just like if you were to call any other, you know, DMV, for example, it's asking you to press 1 for this, 2 for that, so on and so forth. That menu option would be ideal for you. I'm going to go ahead and remove this out. One of the common ones that we have that a lot of people utilize would be the dial option. So let's say, for example, you have this inbound campaign set up for a client, and they want this number, they want their calls to be directly forwarded to their receptionist at their main office. Then, of course, what you'll do is drag and drop dial, enter in that number that they want the call forwarded to, so their main office number, right? And then here you have the option to select to view the caller ID of the caller or of the campaign. So it really just depends on the preference of yourself or your client that you're working with. Of course, if you select the caller ID of the caller, when the call gets forwarded over to that main office, they're not going to see the campaign number. They're going to be able to see the actual lead phone number or the caller's number. The caller ID of the inbound campaign line is a good way for them to, yes, see that, okay, this is the campaign number. That means that they're calling in regarding the voicemail drop that they probably heard, right? So that would be that option. The timeout option, this essentially means how long you want the phone to ring before the next action is supposed to take place, which ultimately would be going to voicemail unless you wanted something else to happen. I do understand there are some changes that we're going to be making to the dial that we'll be releasing soon. So just want to keep that in mind. But right now, how it's working, it works fine. And the timeout essentially means how long the call is going to ring for. Typically, we do 20 to 120 seconds, okay? The next one that we have here is the group dial. So this is like a round robin scenario. As you can see here, we have the option to select a call group. Now, I'm not sure, how many people in the webinar right now have people or agents that they are working with, but the caller group allows the call to be forwarded to a multitude of people, and it's just a matter of who answers the phone first. As you can see, we have the different types of calls, okay? And whoever you put inside of your caller group will be receiving these calls. Now, you may be wondering, where exactly is the call group? Under the Inbounds tab, we have the Caller Group subtab. Clicking on that, as you can see, you'll be able to add caller groups, as many as you wish, and clicking on the eyeball here will open up and show you exactly how many members are inside of this call group. You can add as many as you want. So for example, adding this number in here, as you can see, it's showing a little bit differently, and I do want to go over this as we speak. So the main account is the manager accounts. When you're assigning a member to a caller group, you get the best results when you're utilizing members that are actually inside of the system. So for example, as the manager, as you can see, you have options as your call option. You're able to unlock yourself or lock yourself. When you're unlocked, this means that you're available for a call. When it's showing locked, it means that you're not available to take a call. All right. Now, of course, if I had a team member here in my account, I would be able to select that team member, and it will show team member here, and you'll have the call option available for you as well. Being that this is a non-member, meaning the phone number is not associated with any of the purchase numbers in any account, it's going to be listed as this, and it's going to be forwarded straight to that number. There's not any options to choose whether you want it to ring in your browser, so on and so forth, okay? So once you start adding people in here, and you do choose the multiple option, those people who are added in the caller group, you have the option to simultaneously ring all of them, a random and round robin option, okay? These are the options that we have here for the multiple dial. Once those calls are being forwarded out, it's going to go straight to the voicemail of that recipient who that call is being forwarded to. Now, the next option that we have here is the SMS. One thing about the SMS that is very important is to want to make sure that you do not send a SMS or set it up to where it goes out last. Something that needs to go out first, and I'll give you an example now. Let's say, for example, I want to send them to voicemail, but I also want them to receive an SMS message. In this flow that we're looking at right now, when they call into the inbound campaign, it's going to go straight to voicemail. What happens when people go straight to voicemail? They leave a voicemail and then they hang up the phone, right? That means that the call is no longer connected, and in order to send a text message, there's not a number to connect that text message to. So that is the flow on how this will not work. So what you would want to do, if you do want to set up a SMS to go out when a voicemail is being left, then what you'll want to do is do the SMS first and then do the voicemail after. All right, so that way they'll receive the SMS right away when they call in, and then they'll be sent to voicemail right after. The cool thing about the SMS feature is if you have a SMS campaign selected or created in your account already, you can send that directly to them from here. Or if you just want to type up something custom, then you can do that as well. With the voicemail, again, you can text in some information here. And then in the greetings audio, again, it must be MP3 format. You can upload that file. All right, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the SMS, text-to-speech. Now, if you guys recall just a moment ago when we were setting up the inbound campaign, there was the voicemail notification. Let me go ahead and jump into that so you can get a good idea of what I'm referring to. Right here. As I mentioned, if you do want to receive voicemail notifications, the voicemail option needs to be set up in your flow. Otherwise, you won't be receiving any notifications that someone left you a voicemail, unless, of course, you log into your accounts. After every call flow, that you set up for your campaigns, just go ahead and drag and drop hang up at the bottom there. Exiting out is going to automatically save your call flow for you. To access the call flow again, feel free to click on that there. Now the area code. If someone were from an area code of DC, which is 202, were to call this number, you have the opportunity to redirect that call. Again, as you see, the call flow is set up here, and you can customize it. Same thing with the tags, as I mentioned a moment ago. If someone with a particular tag decided to call this number, and you wanted to redirect that number specifically to a group or a team of people who handles those specific tags, such as plumbers, carpenters, things like that, then of course, go ahead and forward that call to that particular team or group. So you have a lot of ways of directing your calls, organizing your calls. It's a really great opportunity to manage your calls all in all. So again, we have the default. This is the most important and first thing that you need to pay attention to when it comes to your inbounds. And then if you want to customize it to fit your needs or your client needs as far as who's calling from what area code, you can also set up a specific call flow for those types of people. All right, the next thing that we have here is I'm going to go over the call log. Anyone who calls into this inbound campaign, as you can see, your call log will be left to be displayed there. And of course, if you ever wanted to delete a campaign, you can do so here. Now, what we do have is the campaign call status. This is going to be tied into your inbound browser. So under the inbound tab, we've went over the campaign list, how to add a campaign, your caller group, and of course, how to listen to any voicemails that are being left for you. Let's go ahead and jump into the inbound call browser. This looks just about identical to the outbound browser. There's a couple things missing from this browser when you're looking at it. That's only because it only populates all the information needed to move this contact along when a call is actually in play. When there's not a call, it's kind of blank, as you can see here. Now, of course, when it comes to the call statuses, let me go ahead and close some of this out. All right, when it comes to the call statuses, open that up here. So when a call comes in, what's going to happen here is on the right side, there's going to be a list of statuses that you can apply to a lead. This is a pretty big deal. You can find this inside of your outbound dialer as well, which is what I'll be going over next week. I'm going to go over this briefly because we are running out of time. But as you can see here, for your inbound and outbounds, you have an opportunity to set up a campaign call status, and you can choose how you want these call statuses to maneuver and move your contacts along your funnel. So for example, let's say that you have a hot prospect. You're going to be you have an email template that you've already set up for hot prospects specifically. You have a new funnel that you want to put your hot prospects in, a group, so on and so forth. Set that up. That way, when someone is answering a call and we know they're a hot prospect, they want to book an appointment, they're ready, there's a 80% confident level that you're going to be selling that person, then, apply a email template that you have created for that hot prospect if necessary. Send them a text message by a template that you've set up, or of course, copy or move them into another group. This can also trigger a new funnel to go out, especially if you have an autoresponder set up. Okay, so I'm actually going to go into more detail about how you can set up the call statuses in the inbound and the outbounds, as well as the sales pipeline next week. The sales pipeline is a pretty big deal as well. It allows you to see how much money is out there for you that you have not gotten your hands on yet, as far as your leads that you're talking to and marketing to, okay? So we'll definitely go over that information next week. Last but not least, when it comes to the inbound campaigns here, you'll want to go over to your report tab and click on call report. This is the way that you'll be able to take a look at what is going on, who's making the calls, how many are coming in and out. You can export this data as well. your call status and deal statuses will be listed as well. If you are recording your calls, you'll be able to find the recordings of those calls all right here. As you can see, the recordings were left off for some of the calls that were made, so there is no opportunity to listen or download. However, as you can see, this is where you'll be able to filter the information needed, and members, if you have any, to see exactly how many calls were made over a period of time. Now, if anything was done 30 days prior to, then you'll want to click on the archive call report. This will show you everything that was done 30 days prior to. All right. So I don't know if I'm not seeing any questions except for Phillips, and that was earlier this morning, around 8 o'clock or so. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the questions for anyone in the last 15 minutes that we have here. If anyone has any questions about the inbounds, how to set it up, any questions at all, I'll go ahead and leave that open, and I'll keep my eye out. I'm hoping you guys find all this information helpful. We are making some really cool changes to the inbound campaigns. As far as the call flows go, I can't wait to roll that out and show you guys what that looks like. If you are wanting more information about the custom call flow, as I mentioned, going over to the Help tab, clicking on Knowledge Base, and scrolling down here, we do have, actually it's right here. Yep, top help articles. So of course, clicking on that, we have a video here for you, and here's the breakdown. The video is actually really good. Melissa did that for us not too long ago. Has all the information that you need on there. All right, we have a question. Hey, Reagan, how are you? For a call flow menu, what digits are available? Can I assign a 0 for operator or 2-digit numbers? Yes, you can. I do believe you can do 0 and 2-digit numbers. I do know that the new usability feature that we're rolling out for the menu options, it's going to be so awesome. I took a look at it yesterday, actually, with Mark. You're actually able to add 3-digit numbers as well, if necessary. All those calls can be transferred over. But as regards to digits, I do believe that you are able to use 0 all the way up to whatever number is necessary. Let's just go ahead and take a look at it now, why don't we? Let's see what we've got. I'm going to remove this out of there. Let's do menu. Yep, so you can add as many as you want, as you can see here. So if we did 0, if we added another one, let's say we did 100. Yep. So if that answers your question, as you can see, you're able to enter in more than one digit as far as the number. Oh, what it is the extension. That's right. I'm not sure if Mark is on the webinar at the moment. I'm sure he's probably busy. But I do know, just to give you guys, I hope he does, I'll give you guys a little hint. There is a new menu option that we're releasing. It's called extension. So there's going to be a list of extensions that you can add to your menu, and you can add as many digits as you want as an extension, and those calls will be directly forwarded to whoever owns that extension. It works really well when you have team members and other managers inside of your accounts. All right, is there any other questions we have? We're running down on the last 10 minutes. I know tomorrow Mark is going to be doing the Feature Friday, and he will be going over the Click to Call, which is under the Contact tab. So just to give you a little insight on what this is, you'll be able to create a button and place it onto your website. Of course, when a potential lead clicks on that button, wherever you place it at, it's going to allow them to get in contact with an agent, click to call. It's pretty cool. We have a lot of different features as far as how you want it colored, the wording, who you want it forwarded to. You can take a look at the ratings, the call log. Can these, Reagan, again with another question, can these extensions trigger a copy or move to a group? That is possible. I'm not quite sure. I can't confirm that information. I know that the feature is in the works. It's literally almost done. I can't necessarily say when it's going to be released out, but and also I can't confirm whether it's going to be able to trigger a copy or move. I did speak to Mark about all of this yesterday, but I don't recall that that was something that we actually discussed as far as that functionality of copying and moving with the extensions. But of course, when that feature does become released, we'll definitely go ahead and create a video and add it here into the knowledge base so you guys can have all the information that you need regarding that new feature that we're planning on releasing really soon. All right, so click to call, definitely going to be done tomorrow by Mark. He's going to go over that information with you guys on how to utilize that feature. Next week, as I mentioned, I'll go over the outbound dialer, adding scripts, and the sales pipeline, as well as the default and call statuses. Any other questions, guys and ladies? I really appreciate everyone joining in to my webinar today. I really appreciate it. I hope that you find all the information that you've gotten on here helpful. Again, feel free to reach out to us here in support at any time that you have additional questions or if you need further assistance in setting up any type of campaigns or adding contacts, whatever it may be. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. You can definitely find all the previous YouTube webinars on. Oh yeah, definitely. You guys are welcome. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, / Hot Prospector. Okay, all that good stuff's going to be in there. This one that I've done today will probably be up there in the next 24 hours in case you're just tuning in and you maybe missed it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys as well. I wish everyone a great day and a productive day. You guys have a great one. Thank you for joining.